This,
Oh, yeah.
Next on Time for Living, going back to school. It's an option more and more older Americans are choosing.
Staying fit, windsurfing in Britain.
And we'll be traveling around beautiful Lake Tahoe. All this and more next on Time for Living. Welcome. I'm Janet Jagalian.
And I'm Rex Traylor. Welcome to Time for Living.
In keeping with our goal of providing you with interesting and valuable information every week, today we take a look at education opportunities for older citizens.
And many of you have written to us expressing your appreciation for financial expert Steve Burke's tips and rules for financial planning. Now, Steve joins us again today, and this time he has answers to questions generated by your letters.
So get a pen and pencil ready. You'll want to make sure you record this valuable information. And of course, we'll take a trip in our Traveling Around segment. We're heading west to beautiful Lake Tahoe, which used to be the playground for the rich and famous. Find out why. For now, let's get started with our lead story. New England is recognized as the education capital of the nation. No wonder, with so many world-renowned colleges and universities. It's true the vast majority of those going to school are younger people, but a growing segment of the student population is made up of older folks. They go to school for a variety of reasons, and Time for Living's Steve Brown met up with one student who's getting a lot out of the nursing program at Regis College.
I tell all of the people that I work with, just give it a shot, try it, because you're really very bright, but if you don't feel it inside and don't make that leap, then you're never going to know and you're never going to challenge yourself.
Susan Morrissey is challenging herself every day. Having just turned 50, Susan is enrolled in a master's nursing program at Regis College. She is one of thousands of older students who have returned to the classroom.
Going to school takes a lot of self-discipline. I mean, especially if you're working and trying to raise children. I think school's taught me a lot about focusing on goals, and it's helped me a lot in my career at work in the management level. It's helped me to really focus, but also more than that, to look beyond and to be a visionary.
For Susan Morrissey, going to school has an added bonus. One of her fellow students is her own daughter.
All my friends are jealous because I always get to go see my mom, but my mom talks to them too, and they call her mom too. Like, how's mom? We gotta go see her.
While unusual for a mother and daughter to be enrolled in the same college, the sight of older students in college classrooms is not unusual. Every year, more and more older adults are taking the plunge and going back to school.
It's the reality of where education is today, because with certainly the uncertainty of the economy, people are feeling more and more that they need to be continually educating themselves, picking up new skills, new knowledge, new information.
But the older students aren't the only ones reaping the benefits. Educators agree the older student has a lot to offer the institution as a whole.
Every student is unique and individual and special. And you can't say that just because they're older or younger, they're all very different. In some of my classes, I do have some young women who are coming right out of nursing, their basic nursing program, 21, 22. And in the same classroom, I can have somebody who is like Susan, mature, and it just adds a lot of flavor to the class, and they learn from each other. I learn from them.
For a lot of our traditional age students, Ronald Reagan is now a dimming memory, and Jimmy Carter is sort of Jurassic Park. So, when you have older students coming back to class, they can share some observations about politics in the past that a lot of our students who are 18 to 21 really don't know very much about.
For older students, the decision to go to college is not an easy one. Susan Morrissey admits she returned to school with some trepidation.
I was really scared. I was older and didn't know if I had what it would take. And they were wonderful. They just, sat me down, and I'm very goal-oriented, said, here's what you do this year and that year, and it wasn't overwhelming. It was, it was doable. And so I started taking nursing courses on the weekend, because I work full-time, so the weekend option was great for me. And then when I graduated in June, I wanted to come back here for my master's.
Advice from educators to older students: you can do it.
I think a lot of our students who are thinking about coming back to college hesitate. They worry about not fitting in. They worry that they'll feel uncomfortable. They'll be the only person in the class who's over the age of 21. It's not true anymore.
I had Women in Society, where it was probably 3/4 of the traditional students and then 1/4 of us seasoned students. The first week, it's like, they look at us and we look at them. By week 2, it's, we're the give and take is wonderful. I mean, we really enjoy it, and there's no putting anybody down because, oh, you're 17, or I don't feel any resentment from them, like, oh, they think they know it all because they're older. But it really, it's fun. I enjoy it.
Having her daughter enrolled at the college enables Susan to enjoy school even more. Judy hopes her mom extends her classes so that they can graduate together in 1998. I'm Steve Brown. Time for living.
Few and far between anymore.
Incredible.
Joining me in studio is Rebecca Alssid, Director of Special Programs at Boston University, where she oversees the Evergreen program, which promotes people over 60 going back to school and getting additional education at Boston University. We'll also take your phone calls and answer any questions you have regarding educational opportunities for older citizens. Our program number is 617-244-3344. So pick up the phone, give us a call, and you can talk to Rebecca and find out all about education for older Americans. Welcome to the show, Rebecca.
Thank you, Ray.
Tell us about the Evergreen program.
Well, the Evergreen program began in 1980 at Boston University. It's a program that allows people 60 years and over to attend audit classes at the university, not to get a degree, but just to audit classes for $20 a course.
$20 a course? That's absolutely incredible.
I know.
How can anybody pass that up?
Well, we call it the biggest bargain in Boston right now.
It certainly is.
And we have people taking as many as 5 courses a semester, and the whole purpose of that is to integrate them into the regular undergraduate or graduate degree program so that you have an intergenerational mix going on all the time.
Okay, now tell me, who is the typical student who comes to join the Evergreen program? Is there a typical student? Or somebody
no.
who's been to college before, or
no, there
somebody
is,
who's new to it?
It's since there are no requirements to attend these classes, it could be anyone. It could be someone who doesn't even have a high school degree, and it could be people who have postdoctorate degrees and professional people, and anyone can come into the program. So there really is no typical person. There are more women than men taking classes. However, many of the women take our lecture series and the men audit the classes. So it's not very typical. They take computer courses, and they take art courses and music and history. And some people take courses in order to go into new careers, and others are just doing it for recreational and professional enjoyment and personal enjoyment.
Isn't that great? You just hit a hot button, with a lot of the people when you said computer courses. There's so many people out there who have computer phobia. particular older Americans who might say, oh, I could never learn to do a computer, or I wouldn't know the first thing to do. I wouldn't even know what button to push to turn it on. So how did these people fit into that program?
They obviously are not afraid, or if they are, they're willing to give it a try, and they're very brave and courageous and do go in and take the courses. They don't get graded for the classes, but they are they're admitted into the classroom just as if they were regular students.
Okay, let's talk about that. When you say they don't get graded for the courses, you said they audit the courses. Now, tell our audience what audit means.
Audit means that they just sit in on the class and do everything that a regular course student would do in the class, except they don't have to take exams, they do not have to write papers, and they don't get graded. Wow. And they don't get a transcript at the end of the semester.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of people have anxiety over exams, so that should put your mind at ease, by the way, if you feel that perhaps you wouldn't want to go back to school because you wouldn't want to have to take exams and things like that. So you can learn the information and not really be put to the test, although you put yourself to the test.
I think that people who stay in the classroom every day, if they attend all the classes, really do put themselves to the test. But as you say, they're not. They don't own the class. No one is going to judge them, which is very important for them.
Do these classes lead to career changes?
Yes, many.
Tell us
well,
about
many
some
of the many of the people who've gone into financial classes or into computer classes have in fact changed their careers, and I understand that from the population of 55 years of age to 65. That about 71% of people who go back to school are doing that for career changes. But after that, it's all mostly personal enjoyment.
Sounds great to me. We'll continue our discussion on educational opportunities for older citizens. If you have any questions or comments regarding education, then give us a call at 617-244-3344. Time for Living will continue in just a minute. Yes.
That we have.
Yeah. At first I had it turned down.
Civic parked down here by any chance? Pardon? Do you have a blue Honda Civic parked down here? Could I have your...
Welcome back to Time for Living. We've been talking with Rebecca Alssid. overseer of the Evergreen program at Boston University. If you'd like to take part in our conversation about educational opportunities for older Americans, then pick up the phone, give us a call at 617-244-3344, and we'll answer your questions. And I'll tell you, this is an exciting program. You said this is for people 65 and older?
60.
60 and over, okay. They pay $20 a course, which is absolutely incredible. They audit the course so they don't have to worry about exams or anything like that that might get them a little apprehensive being put to the test. And they have a marvelous experience. Now, how old are the people? They go from 60 years old to what age?
90s. Low 90s.
90?
Yes.
90 years old?
The average age is about 73, 74.
Isn't that great? Isn't that wonderful? That shows, you know, there's an old expression, I'm not too sure, I think it's very flattering. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, but obviously there are some people who never want to stop learning. And as a matter of fact, life is a learning experience. As we have somebody on the line right now, Richard in Stowe. And Richard, if you're on the line with Rebecca Alssid.
Hi, Rex. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
As I was listening to the program, you answered a lot of the questions that I had. So I'm here without question. I have a couple of comments, however. My wife said to tell you that she already had all the answers. That's pretty typical around here. The other thing I wanted to say is a great show. Keep up the good work, and nothing else to say to you.
Okay, well, tell me a little bit about yourself, Richard. How old are you?
Well, I'm 57. I'm a psychologist, and I was thinking about going on to doing something in computers. And when I was listening to the program about the programs that are offered in the computers, I was very interested about it. And so, of course, you answered all the questions for me.
Do you have a PC at home?
Yes, I do.
Do you know which button to push to put it on?
I've gotten that far. But this Windows 95 thing is throwing me for a loop.
Well, you know, you would absolutely be amazed at the number of people whom I know personally who have computers that are still in the box. They were given to them as gifts or, anniversary or whatever. They're still in the box. They haven't touched them, and this is their opportunity to find out about it. So this would be just the course for you, Richard.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I was thinking about.
Okay. Well, thanks very much. Now, if Richard wants to get in touch with you in order to enroll for the computer course at BU.
He has to first become 60.
Oh, he has.
I think Richard's 57.
Okay, speed it up, Richard. No. I'm only kidding. There are other things that he can do. There are other computer courses that he can take at various places where they can do the basics. And then when he gets up to snuff on that, he'll be 60 by then. And
he's
he can join your
welcome
program.
to come then. Yes.
Okay. Thanks very much, Richard. We appreciate your call. Mary in Waltham is next. Hi, Mary.
Hi. Good afternoon, Mr. Trailer, and to your guest, Rebecca Alssid.
Hi.
Let me first say your show is wonderful and is so informative for the population I now find myself entering. I am semi-retired and I'm interested in pursuing my education. Many of the issues that I was going to bring up have been brought up, but one thing I do have a concern about is I have a concern about returning to a scholastic environment where the population of students would be much younger than myself. I have a nursing background, but now I'm entering, shall we say, the golden years. I guess I'm looking at what direction the rest of my life could take. I have a different interest in writing. I was wondering what your guest should suggest should my course of action be to strike out on this adventure. For someone my age, would it be better to audit courses, take courses for credit, and what type of courses would you suggest? And are there resources available for women such as myself that can advise and direct someone my age who wants to take on a new educational adventure?
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question.
Well, at the university, you are eligible to take creative writing course or any kind of writing course. As long as the professor allows you in the room, and we never have any problems with that. As for competing with youngsters, you're actually giving them a part of your life which would help them, and you in turn will be learning from them. And this was the whole purpose of the program, to bring the generations together. And instead of just working with older people, you would be, in fact, working with all sorts of people, including the professor who is middle-aged, so that it becomes more of a creative procedure than just working with older people.
Mary, are you still on the line? Okay, well, the one thing I wanted to say to Mary is that I think it is wonderful that she is thinking about writing, because many older Americans have a lifetime of experience and stories and things that they would like to share and put down in writing for generations to come. But they just don't know how to go about it. They don't know the mechanics of it. And they could take a course at BU, at the Evergreen program, and learn how to do that.
That's right. And also impart their knowledge onto other people.
Well, Rebecca, we have Pat from Boston on the line right now. You're on with Rebecca Alssid on Time for Living.
Hi, Rex. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
Also, you have answered quite a few of my questions. Your show is fantastic, and you're giving us lots of answers.
Thank you.
I was thinking about my mother. By the way, I love your show, and I've watched the show, and I'm in my late 30s, and I turn this information over to my mom all the time. She's divorced, and she raised 5 kids. Now she's at home by herself, and she doesn't have what does she do all day? She's really always looking for something to do, and I think that this program is really exciting. It would give her an opportunity to get out of the house, for one, and two, to just interact with younger people, something she did for 20 some odd years with all of us kids.
That's very interesting. There are a lot of people I have run across who are in their later years, and they say, if I go out to a program, I've had them in my classes at Emerson College, and I'll say, do you feel comfortable with all the younger people in the program here? And they say, I'd much rather be with them than as she put it, than a group of old fogies, because she was breaking the mold. She wanted to do something that other people were not doing, who were her age. So what type of things would your mom like to do, Pat?
Well, she's a housewife. She never got a college education, and so, for her, maybe something, well, she's always worked with her hands, so arts and craft type things, art history, those type of classes would be fun and interesting. But like this idea of taking a computer class, I really want it, because I have a computer, and she could come over here and use my computer. But of course, like I said, like everybody, they're terrified of these machines. But she learned how to type in high school, so if you can type, you can certainly use a computer. I don't know, it would just be, I would like to maybe a program that I could give to her that would give a list of what's available. How could we get in touch with one of those programs?
Okay.
I just want to add one thing. We also, in addition to having a program where people audit classes, we have lecture series going on throughout the year where Evergreeners are together in a lecture room, about 200 of them. For example, we have one now on the movies. It's a 6-week lecture series taught by one of the Boston University professors who teaches film. And they're learning about the movie stars of the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And that's a series of 6 lectures. And in addition to that, we have an exercise program going on all throughout the year, and also a current events discussion group.
Well, listen, if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what does, because it sounds like a lot of good information and recreation available to all of you folks out there at a very low cost. Thank you very much, Rebecca. We certainly appreciate your visiting us here on Time for Living, and I'm sure you're going to get lots of response from our folks out there who are watching us.
Thank you.
And Time for Living needs your help. We'll be looking for New England's oldest member of the class of '96. Yeah, you heard me right. If you think that that person is somebody you know, an elder person who will be graduating from a New England college this year, we want to know. Write to us, that oldest student, care of Time for Living, P.O. Box 1698, Framingham, Massachusetts, 01701, or you can give us a call at our voicemail number. That's 1-800-232-7213. And we'll feature New England's oldest graduating student on a future show. Now, as we just found out, it's never too late to benefit from a college education, and Time for Living's Carolyn Murdoch tells us about one college program for people 65 and older called Turn, and it's My Turn. And that's the focus of this week's Newsbreak segment.
The My Turn program at Manhattan's Kingsborough Community College offers older Americans higher education, tuition-free. Many have helped their own children or grandchildren through school, but they've never had the opportunity themselves.
This is their time. This is their turn to come and get the benefits of higher education. And the college has a variety of courses that are made available to them so that they can pick and choose those things that they're most interested in. It's their time, their turn.
The My Turn students attend the same classes as the younger ones, walk the same halls, eat lunch in the same cafeteria. They even have their own newspaper with a strong emphasis on campus news.
I want articles about some of the teachers, the faculty, the life of our students and the regular students on the campus.
There's really not much difference between the My Turners and the so-called regular students, except for age, of course.
To some, you become the father figure. If they have a problem, they come to you. To others, you're just their peer. They don't look at you as an older person. You're just one of the gang. And it's a lot of fun being just one of the boys.
While some My Turn students are pursuing degrees, others second or even third careers, most are enrolled simply for the sake of greater knowledge.
This is it. This is my turn. I've been waiting for. I'm in no hurry, and I'm going to absorb as much as I can.
Kingsborough officials call My Turn anything but a one-way street. The older students bring maturity and experience to the classroom, and that benefits everyone. I'm Carolyn Murdoch. Time for Living.
Mic check, Janet.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Welcome back to Time for Living.
In this segment, we try to give you tips and information that will enhance your financial situation, protect you from fraud, or help you exercise properly.
That's right. We want you to be able to make informed decisions when it comes to your health and financial situation.
Now, today's Health, Finance, and More segment, financial expert Steve Burke answers your questions regarding mutual funds. Many of you paid close attention to what he had to say about mutual funds a few weeks ago, but some of you wanted more information. Here are the answers you've been waiting for.
In recent programs, I've been suggesting that you ask lots of questions relative to the product or strategy being presented to you. One of our viewers said, "That's a good idea, but what are the questions I'm supposed to ask?" With that in mind, I thought it would help if we talk about mutual funds by asking lots of questions about them. Things you should know. One of the first questions you should ask is, when I retire, can I receive a certain amount of money every month from the fund or funds? The answer is generally yes. It is possible to receive a specific amount on a periodic basis or a percentage of the value of your fund or funds. This allows you to anticipate an amount of money each month, quarter, or year for budgeting purposes. It's important that you are constantly aware of the value of your fund so that you don't accidentally decimate your asset. A practical approach is to determine what the 10-year history of the fund or funds has been. That done, plan to take less income than your fund should generate. Example, if your fund has been realizing a 10 to 12% average return, consider drawing down 8% annually. This gives you some protection from overdrawing the account. However, always keep an eye on the balance. Remember, fund values go down and up. You might want to stop or change the income stream you are receiving to avoid a zero balance. What kind of fund should I buy or have in retirement years? Some simple approaches. Funds with a 10-year performance record which impresses you rather than a hotshot new fund which hasn't been around for the downs, but only the ups. A fund with an investment philosophy which is in tune with your thinking, conservative, aggressive, or moderate. Diversify your funds. The old not all the eggs in this basket approach, since there are over 7,000 mutual funds out there, you have a lot of choices. Also, by investing in different funds, you can adjust your risk. Remember, the stock market mutual funds arena is risky by putting monies in those funds whose objectives seem in line with yours. And do some research, if only to ask lots of questions. Where can I get objective information? There are a number of sources, Wall Street Journal and Morningstar Incorporated being two of the better-known places for information. Once I've invested my money, can I change to other funds or other products? Certainly. But again, make haste slowly because funds go up and down. You don't want to spend your time guessing about timing. Better to stay with a good solid family of funds which allows you to move around in the family and thus minimize fees if you choose to make any moves at all. Generally, it's good sense to ride with the fund or funds you originally picked unless very obviously you have made a mistake. The good funds have a tendency to increase in value, albeit there may be some down times. Can I avoid taxes by reinvesting my dividends, interest and capital gains with my fund? No. Except in those cases where you have a mutual fund or funds in your 401k, IRA, some other form of pension plan, or possibly in a variable annuity or variable life plan, which have some of the characteristics of a mutual fund and whose returns are tax deferred. If your money is not protected by some of the aforementioned products, you must pay taxes even if you have reinvested the returns from your fund and never cashed a check. What sort of fees or commissions can I expect to pay? There are fees, if only the type called 12B1, which are very hard to define in dollars, but they are there nevertheless. After all, like any business, mutual funds need to be paid for providing their services. In many cases, you have a choice of how to pay these charges. Some of you have heard of no-load funds. The fact to keep in mind is that there are fees and or commissions up front, in the middle, or at the end of your relationship with any fund. No-load simply means they have a way to be paid which is more palatable to some people than load funds, which also have different ways of being compensated. It's my suggestion that you use one of the many honest, able representatives available, unless you want to do all the necessary homework yourself. Ask them how they get paid and what their commissions and fees are, and don't do business with someone unless the chemistry is good. Your common sense has gotten you this far. Keep on believing in your judgment about people and things. This is Steve Burke, Time for Living.
Thanks, Steve. Great report. If you have any more questions about mutual funds, you can write to Steve Burke, care of Health, Finance, and More, Time for Living, P.O. Box 1698, Framingham, Mass. 01701. Or you can call our voicemail at 1-800-232-7213. Now, next on Time for Living, our Traveling Around segment. What has beautiful scenery, exciting nightlife, world-class casinos? Well, it's Lake Tahoe. We'll take you there next on Time for Living.
Rex, have you ever noticed in bookstores how incredibly large the travel sections are?
I know. Lots of people are packing their bags and seeing New England and the nation and the world.
I'm so glad we've been showing folks some exciting vacation destinations. You can never see every place, but it's certainly fun trying.
Now, one of the largest groups of travelers nowadays are older people with more time on their hands, money in their pockets, and older Americans are really on the go.
Today we're going to Lake Tahoe. Straddling the border of California and Nevada, Lake Tahoe is a spectacular sight. More than 6,200 feet above sea level, Lake Tahoe is surrounded by beautiful mountains. The lake has 72 miles of shoreline besides the great outdoors, of course. Lake Tahoe is noted for its exciting great indoors as well. We're looking at all Lake Tahoe has to offer in today's Traveling Around segment.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Larry, Steve, and Rudy, the Gatlin Brothers.
The lure of big-name entertainers packs them in at the South Lake Tahoe casinos of Harrah's, Harvey's, and Caesars. Then the machines and the table games take over with lures of their own. But casinos are only part of it.
You'll have a great show inside the casino. You step out, you have another great show outside.
Lake Tahoe is unique among all of the world's gambling destinations because here, when you want to give your slot arm a rest or cash in your chips and step outside for a breath of fresh air, you'll see then what makes Lake Tahoe a very special place.
It's better than I expected it. It's a gorgeous place.
Naturalist John Muir said God always seems to be doing his best here. Mark Twain said Lake Tahoe, only one to a world. If you have any doubts as to just how beautiful Lake Tahoe is, come and see it for yourself. Stand here next to Eagle Falls above Emerald Bay, and you'll be enjoying what is one of the most beautiful sights on earth. But like so many of our national natural treasures, we've nearly loved it to death. At the turn of the century, Lake Tahoe was the exclusive vacation hideaway for wealthy San Franciscans. Many of their estates have been donated to the Park Service and are open to the public. In the 40s and 50s, the rest of us found our way here, building cabins and casinos, motels and attractions. By the 60s, Tahoe's health was in trouble. Air and water quality suffered from overdevelopment and too much traffic. By the 70s, pressure was brought on by environmentalists. A building moratorium and a long-range plan went into effect. Today, things are improving. The lake's clarity is said to be 99.7%. There can be no new casinos built. Much of the traffic is to be rerouted, and within 3 years, many of the old unsightly motels will be gone, replaced by 2 large hotels, thereby creating more open space and public parkland. Lori Armstrong is with the Lake Tahoe Visitors Authority.
Everyone is very concerned about keeping the environment clean and beautiful, not only because it supports our economy. If it weren't beautiful there, people wouldn't come to visit, but also because, as I say, we don't get another chance with it. If we mess up Tahoe, we've messed up good.
There are 2 reasons why Lake Tahoe is so popular. 1 is the natural environment. 2 is the man-made, in the form of casinos. Lake Tahoe's South Shore is where most of the action is. The casinos are in a head-to-head competition with the natural environment. They want to keep you indoors, playing the machines and the tables, and that can be to your advantage because to keep you inside, they'll give you a $4.99 prime rib dinner at the Nugget, a $6 all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet at Harrah's, and a spectacular view during Sunday brunch from the top of Harvey's. Even the shows are inexpensive. The big-name entertainers, about $20 a ticket. The smaller cabaret shows, about $12. The lounge acts in the casino cocktail lounges are free, or they have a small cover charge.
And go. We're going.
While the casinos are a big draw at Lake Tahoe, there's another reason why so many people vacation here, to head out on the lake and do a little fishing.
I think it's the best secret of the West.
Well, now, the secret's out, and if you're willing to get up and get out before the sun, you will catch fish.
That's quite a hat you have on there. Is that going to help somehow
Well,
today?
yeah, that's a lucky hat, you know, given to me by my grandson.
Certainly lucky for him this day, 70-year-old Mel Lukens had his limit by 10 a.m.
Nowhere in the world you fish like you do here. You fish the bottom. You got to stay right on the bottom to catch these old buggers.
For many, Lake Tahoe is the chance to see where Ben, Hoss, and little Joe rode herd. At the north end of the lake is Ponderosa Ranch. For $6.50, you can visit the movie set where Bonanza was filmed. They came all the way from Poland.
Every people like Bonanza.
Lake Tahoe is one of the best playgrounds in America. A playground for all ages, a perfect family getaway. It's recommended, though, to avoid the crowds and still enjoy great weather. Come during fall or spring. Let's pack our bags and head on out. Now, if you know of a great travel destination for older adults, please tell us about it so that we can feature it in a future Traveling Around segment. You can write to Traveling Around, care of us at Time for Living, Post Office Box 1698, Framingham, Massachusetts 01701. Or you can call our voicemail at 1-800-232-7213 or fax us at 617-329-1774.
Up next on Time for Living, put on your wetsuit. We're going to meet some older folks who stay fit by windsurfing. Stay with us. As we learned earlier on today's show, it's never too late to start something new.
Thousands of older people are enrolled in college classes, and some are working on their undergraduate degrees, others striving towards their master's or doctorates.
Now others are taking fun courses in adult education programs in their local community.
They all have one thing in common. They all want to better themselves and stay active.
Now, staying active is what a group of older men and women are doing in England. We heard about the group who called themselves the CVETs, and we thought you'd be interested to hear about them. You see, they're taking part in an activity many people consider to be only for the young. Time for Living's Rod Fritz introduces us to this group of windsurfers, worthy of this week's second effort salute.
On the waters of this man-made lake, not far from London, this group of windsurfers are braving England's autumn weather to enjoy their favorite sport. It may be thought of as a young person's game, but many of these windsurfers are long retired and have hit on an imaginative way to keep fit. They're all members of the group called CVETs, an organization for older people who want to windsurf and are not letting their age get in their way.
CVETs was founded about 8 years ago with half a dozen people, keen people on a beach in Hayling Island in the south of England. Now has a membership of over 400, and whereas they had one event in the early days, we now have 40 events this year, running from the very southern tip of England to Scotland and Wales. CVETS was originally founded by a director of research into aging as a way of promoting activity amongst the not-so-young and showing the not-so-young that they do not have to be housebound or chair-bound. We promote it as an easy and pleasant way of keeping mentally and physically alert, and everything we do raises some money and public awareness for the charity Research into Aging, which does the unglamorous work of trying to find out the causes of Alzheimer's, senile dementia, incontinence, and a number of other uncomfortable and unpleasant things that sometimes happen when you grow old. Our eldest members are two gentlemen of 81 and 82 respectively, and our eldest lady is going to be 70 this year.
About 50 members are taking part today, and it takes about 3/4 of an hour to do the course. There isn't a lot of wind, and on parts of the lake there's very little wind, which makes it very difficult to get round some of the buoys. But I quite enjoy a steady, lightish wind. It's when the wind gets up that I find it difficult.
I've been windsurfing for 10 years and I'm 70 years old now. I race every Wednesday and Sunday throughout the summer and occasionally in the winter, and I come to the CVETS meetings when they're on a Saturday.
Now, windsurfing might not be for everyone, but it's accepted medical wisdom that exercise of some sort keeps all of us fit, whatever our age. But you don't have to tell the CVETS that. They prove it every day. I'm Rod Fritz. Time for Living.
Isn't that great? We'd like to thank the British Consulate here in Boston for providing us with a videotape of the CVETS. Now, if you know of some group or individual who we should profile on Time for Living, please let us know. Write to us at Time for Living, P.O. Box 1698, Framingham, Massachusetts, 01701, or call our voicemail toll-free at 1-800-232-7213. And if you missed that address or those phone numbers, don't worry, we'll repeat them later in the show.
Up next on Time for Living, we'll be checking our mailbag and reading your letters, and we'll be right back. Thanks so much for all your calls and letters.
You know, a lot of you have taken the time to write to us, and we certainly appreciate that.
Tim Kane of Falmouth sent a letter to you, Rex. He writes, I happened to see your show in the late hours of the night around 3 a.m. I guess a rebroadcast of an earlier show. I think he's right. I was pleased to see that you were still on television in Boston. I'm one of those people who watched you on Boomtown, and now I'm approaching 50 and will be tuning in to see you in another life, a little older, a little grayer.
And actually, Janet, you got some fan mail too. Barbara H. of Charlestown wrote and said she read a recent article about you in the Herald. And she writes, I decided to tune in and see what you looked like in person. I was pleased to see that you looked very good on television. I was surprised by the quality of the show that you and your co-host are doing. And she goes on to say the type of programming is long overdue, serves a very important purpose in getting out information that will help all of us who are in our later years, and more importantly, it will help some of those folks who are approaching our age to understand the changes that will be taking place. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. We just had a story about windsurfers. This letter is from a channel surfer. Maria R. of Dedham writes to us. She says she was changing channels the other day and happened to come across our show. Maria adds, I stopped to watch because I recognized Rex and wondered what this was all about. I'm 66 years old and now have a lot of time on my hands, so I'm at home in the afternoon. I think what you're doing is just marvelous, and I especially like the travel section of the show. There are many places that I will not be able to visit in my life, but joining you both on these quick trips is both fun and fascinating. I especially like the dancing part on the visit to Germany. I'll be watching each week now that I have found your show.
Well, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
We're so glad you'll be joining us, Maria. And please tell your friends about our show, and we hope they'll like the show as well.
Now, if you'd like to write to us, we'd love to hear from you. Our address, Time for Living, P.O. Box 1698, Framingham, Massachusetts, 01701. Our voicemail phone number, 1-800-232-7213.
Now, when we return on Time for Living, a look at what's coming up on future shows. Thanks very much for joining us this week on Time for Living.
And we do hope you'll join us again next week at 3 right here on New England Cable News.
In the weeks ahead, we've got some exciting shows planned, like how to downsize your home after all the children have left the nest. Also, we'll be talking about prescription drugs. Are you taking too many?
Also, among our second effort salutes, you'll be meeting Paul Ducott, an imaginative man in his 70s who runs one of the most successful limousine services in Massachusetts.
And of course, we'll be bringing you all our regular features, health, finance, and more, traveling around, and we'll be reading more of your letters.
We leave you now with one more look at beautiful Lake Tahoe. So until next week, remember, it's time for living.